Good afternoon and good morning to everybody else. Winnie, I think you did a great job. I need to find a way to poach you from Oze so you can work with me.
Thank you for coming. Thank
You
you.
did a great job, yes. So I don't need to reintroduce myself. I am here basically to help you systemize, automate, and delegate. That is my duty for today. I would want to be as brief as possible because I know the real fun comes in the questions because let's face it, not everybody is here to start all over. People have been in business for a while and they know what they need to know. What they need now is solutions to their issues. So we'll just dive straight in. My main focus for the next decade is to be able to impact 10 million entrepreneurs all across Africa. So I'm glad you are part of this group. So we'll go straight into business. So you had a dream, you had a passion, you started out with something, you had plans to make things big. And yes, by whatever means, for those of you who believe in God, by God's grace, for those of you who believe in hard work, by your hard work, and by every other means, you got things started. And in the beginning, it was a little tough trying to attract clients here and there, people who would trust in you and your service or in your product. And then eventually it began to pick speed. It began to fetch some money. You were a little happy. I mean, things were beginning to flow. It was easier to now pay the rent and pay the NEPA bills, pay the ECG bills. It was a little easier to run adverts. You had a little money to spare. You could send mommy and daddy something. And things began to pick up. And then all of a sudden, the pickup became an issue because you had so many clients and you were missing up here and there. You were skipping schedules. You had too many people. As a rule of thumb, if you ever have to turn off your advertisement because you have too many leads to work with, then you know you have a problem. And the problem is not a lead problem. It's not a sales problem. It is a systems problem. So we'll go straight into the business. If you are running your business and everything is fine only when you are available, then you have a problem. If your clients are able to tell when you are not the one who worked on their service or their product, I don't know what you're dealing in, if it is a bakery, if it's a food business, if it's a service business. But if your client is able to tell that, no, for this particular round, for this particular order that I placed, I don't think Mama Cindy was the one who worked on this. I don't think Rutini was the one who worked on this. I don't think Ola was the one who worked on this. If they are able to tell that there is a difference when you are not there, it means you have a problem you need to solve. Number three, if you cannot train your workers, I mean the new people you employ, if you cannot train them in 2 or 3 days to do exactly what the one who left was doing, then you have a problem. There is no system and there is no structure. So Winnie said this was going to be interactive. I'm going to go straight in, and before you ask me questions, I want to ask you a question. So if there's anybody among us today who is at the point where their business totally collapses when they are sick or when they are unavailable, I want you to tell me exactly what you think the problem is. Is it that when you are not available, the operations cannot be done? By operations, I mean what it takes for the orders to be delivered cannot be done. Or is it that when you are not available, customer relations dies? Or is it that when you are unavailable, it is the sales that dies? So what do you think is the main problem? Is it an operations issue? Is it a client relations issue? Or is it a sales issue? Why do you think your business seems to go off when you are sick or not available? I would want somebody to probably unmute their microphones and get me an answer for this. So Winnie, if you can coordinate that, or if there's nobody, we can move on.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, Kenneth, you can proceed.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. Basically, it's an operation issue I am having presently. Because if you are not there, they tend not to do what they are expected to do. You get to find out when there are issues. For example, I'm into real estate. And then once these clients, once they are done with payment, we need to issue them their deed of transfer and even receipts. And we need to confirm payments. The accountant needs to confirm payments and all of that. It depends on the kind of payment they made. If you are not there, they tend to delay, and we have like a deadline. We tell them in a week's time, come for this paper. It's only when these clients are not satisfied that the staff in charge will start running a task to ensure that the right thing is done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenneth, for opening up. And these are some of the issues we talk about. You see, it is because you've not probably, and I'm saying probably because I have not interviewed you one-on-one. So forgive me if I probably say something that is not the case, but just for the sake of the presentation, there might not be what we call a finance structure. So among the things I'm going to treat today will be the 3 basic structure or systems you need for every business to thrive. That will be the sales system. In other words, how you get in clients. And then the second will be the operation system, how you sort these clients out. And then the third will be the finance system. So with your issue, I think it's an operations and finance system. So what I see here is, first of all, the workers do not have a standard operating procedure based on what they are supposed to do as and when. For example, if you have told them on the day of employment, this is how we operate. And when clients get in touch, team X takes over, the marketing and sales team take over. Once we are able to get them to make payments, finance team takes over. Finance team, you're supposed to provide receipt of payment X, Y, Z by 48 hours or by 24 hours of payment. And then there are rules and regulations. There are a few pecs for following the structure. And then there are a few punishments. Let me put it that way. Punishment is a hard word, but then there are repercussions for not following the structure. Then people will have a cause to be on point with the business. But when it looks like what I'm seeing here, it looks like how I also started in my other businesses, where the issue is that you started a business by yourself. I mean, there was probably just 1 or 2 workers with you when you started, but basically you were the marketer because you knew what you were doing. You could sell your business, you could sell to the clients, you could explain the whole thing to them. You were probably the agent as well. You would take them to go and see the site. And then when they make payments, you do everything, and everything was smooth. So when the business began to expand, you brought in people. And I was explaining this to Winnie the other day. There are some employments that are team building employments, what we call you are employing teammates. And then there are employments that are helping employments, what we call helpers. So the little dissection is that with helpers, you have to tell them what to do. So the business begins to grow and you're like, okay, I'm being stretched here. Let me get somebody to take care of the calls. When the calls come in, I want somebody to pick that call. So you don't really employ with a full stack of what to do and what not to do. You just get people to fill in positions or to fill in the things you are struggling to do. And then what happens is that they get to do exactly what you told them to do. You ask them to pick calls, so they just pick calls. If something goes outside the scope, they need to call you. And then in effect, when you employ helpers, you are still doing the work. because you need to now go back and tell them what to do. Team members, on the other hand, are supposed to be skilled people in their own right, but skilled to a particular task. So if it's a skilled auditor, a skilled accountant, a skilled client relations officer, if it's a skilled salesperson, they come in with a particular skill set and they are there to perform a particular task, which will of course be documented. In that case, then they are there to do what they are skilled enough to be able to do, and you don't need to order them about. So I don't know, Kenneth, if in your case, it started with the helpers approach where you were doing it all by yourself. And then when they began to expand, you began to bring in people to support us and when. Now with those people, if you don't tell them what to do, they just go by the previous order you gave them. So boss said we should do X when this happens. And so they are going to go by that. Number two, when they are helpers, and when they don't see any path of growth in their business, maybe they are cashiers or they are secretary or they are whatever designation you've given them, they don't see any career path. They don't see the day they become, let's say, chief accountant, or the day they become general secretary, or the day they become general manager. They don't see any path of growth. So they see themselves as this one person stuck here. It prevents them from growing up. It prevents them from going on any kind of growth trajectory. They don't learn to improve. If you try to help them, give them training, give them books to grow, they personally don't see any path to growth. They just see themselves as this small cog in this small wheel. You've probably not sold the whole vision of the setup to them. They don't see where the business is going to be in 10 years and how they stand to benefit. So, Kenneth, that may be a reason why they seem to be stuck in one place and they don't really have that edge. They don't have that motivation to do anything. And in fact, Kenneth, I can push this. I might not be right, but I can push this and say they think they are actually doing you a favor because they think they are working for you. They think all the effort they put in puts money in your pocket. So when you come and park your car, they see that is my effort. When you order some food and they deliver it to the office, they think that is my effort. Whatever progress you have in life, they don't see the hard work you have put in. They don't know you have been at this for probably 5, 6, I don't know how many years you've been at this, but they don't know you have been at this longer than they have. And they don't know all those days you were moving about from place to place, placing adverts here and there, all the things you have had to learn on the road that has gotten you here. So when you give them a task to perform, they think because I picked this call, because I took this client to go and see this property, because I did ABC, now the client has sent 200,000 naira, the client has sent 150,000 naira, and every month they are going to pay this. And all boss is doing is sitting in his office, sometimes sitting at home and calling us and giving us orders. So they don't see the clear organizational path. And so they think every extra effort is for you and not for them. So if you are able to show them that path, and that is where the systems come in, when you are able to show them, this is where we started, this is what I was doing, this is what I am doing now, this is what you are doing, and this is the contribution you are giving to the whole game. Now, when you are able to show them that whatever they are contributing is probably 5% or 2% or 10% of whatever is going on, and that the accountant is also contributing, let's say, another 10%, and then the sales personnel or the client relations are also contributing this percentage, then they would know, okay, this is a full setup, and this is my contribution. This is what I'm supposed to do. And if I do this well, probably by the structure I've been given, I will get a pay increase if I do X. I will get a bonus if I do Y and do it well. if I'm able to meet the target within the timeline. For example, you spoke about you promising your clients to get their documents in a week. I would also promise my workers, if you're able to get the documents done within 3 days, everybody in the chain has maybe 4,000 or 5,000. I can't really mix up the figures because Ghana and Nigeria, our figures are totally different. But everybody gets so and so at the end of the week, or if you're able to get this done. So if we have 10 deals and you get all the documentation done within 3 days of payments received, then everybody gets so and so much amount on every deal. Now you're supposed to do this such that it doesn't go against the company. Don't forget the company comes first, but find a way to let them know when we do this, it is not for him, it is for us. Find a way to let them know this is a huge business. We are not only dealing with Kenneth. He is the CEO for now, or he is the manager, but we are not dealing with Kenneth. We are dealing with a whole institution. We are dealing with a whole setup. That is going to greatly improve and impact the way they treat the business. And then, so with that said, I will quickly jump on to what I intend to share for today so we can move straight into questions. I know with the way Kenneth has started, there will be a lot of questions. So I'll quickly move into the 3 basic structures I recommend for every business. There are a lot of structures we have to look at, but these are the basic ones we need to take note of. The first and most important is the sales structure or the sales system. Don't forget, you don't have a business if you don't have sales. No matter how smart you are, no matter how effective, no matter how quality your product is, no matter how special your service provision is, when you are not making sales, you don't have a business. Until somebody is willing to put money on the table for your service, you don't have a business. So the most important system you need to work out is your sales system. That is the system that markets your products, the system that attracts leads, and the system that nurtures the leads and turns them into clients. Number 2, which is the second most important, is your operations system. By operations, I mean everything that takes place from the time the client pays to the client actually receiving the product or the service you've promised. So your operation system will include your client relations, your onboarding system, your operations, your direct operations to get the product or service done, and then the delivery, how the product or service gets delivered to the person or to the group of people, however your business operations work. Now, the third will be your finance system. How do you run your finances? How do you send invoices? How do you bill clients? How do you receive payments? Are you as the boss on the phone, talking to the client, trying to make the sale? Then when the sale is done, you are the same person on the phone, asking them to send payment. The payment is going to your personal Momo number. And when they send payment, they will see Kenneth Okechukwu or Kenneth something there, so that the person they dealt with is the same person they are sending the money to. In which case, when they have any issue, they are not going to call your client relations, even if you have one. They are going to call you back and say, I sent the money to you, and you told me you are going to do this by X, and I've not received anything from you. What is going on? So when you're able to put these 3 systems in place, that is the basic. You know you are on your way to at least systems and structures. Now, when you mention system, I don't want it to look huge or sound anything beyond recognition to anybody. We're talking about SOPs. That's all. A system is a well-oiled structure that operates without supervision. An SOP, as the name suggests, a standard operating procedure, is simply a step-by-step process by which things are done. So when we say, for example, a sales system, it is the step-by-step process by which we achieve sales in this setup. That is the basic explanation. When we say an operations system, we mean the step-by-step processes by which our operations are conducted, by which our deliveries are made. Same for a financial system. So by SOPs, what we mean is that put all your dealings into perspective from sales, marketing, operations, delivery. And in as much as this session might take an hour or probably a little more than an hour, you will need a lot more time to systemize. So there is no need to rush. You take all your processes one by one. So we can start with the most important, the sales process. Now, because you've been in business for a while, you have that right. You've earned that respect. You can jot down the processes, how you actually get things done in the sales process. Jot down how you make your sales. Example, in fact, you can be as childish, as blatant, as whatever you can call it as possible. Nobody is here to judge you or to mark you. It is you who wants to improve. So let me use a case study of Mr. So and so, somebody we don't know, who sells, let's say, car batteries. So let's say for him, he has several ways of making sales. One of them is step one, he places an advert on Facebook. Step two, people get in touch and ask him questions about his product. Step three, he responds, answers their questions, and tells them the range of his car batteries. Step four, he hopes that they will get back in touch and buy. So step five, those who get in touch or who get back in touch negotiate for price, they try to get a discount, and some end up buying. So that is process one. Process two, let's say somebody who has contacted him already or bought a car battery recommends him to a friend. And then step two, after the recommendation, the friend calls in and says, so and so asked me to contact you for car batteries. He says you have good car batteries. And then step three, you tell them the range you have, and step four, you make a sale. There will be several other ways you can make a sale. But then the point of this stage, get you to document it step by step. This is the first thing I did. This is the second thing I did. This is the third thing I did. This is the fourth thing I did. And then there was sale. So you do your best to put all these into perspective, and then, excuse me. Yeah, sorry for that. So you do your best to put all this into perspective and have a procedure. So your next step is to standardize it. That's why we call it standard operating procedure. Make sure that procedure is giving you the results you want. If, for example, you don't know the amount of sales you are doing in a week, it means that process is not viable, not sustainable. That process is not giving you the kind of results you are looking at. So your next step is to find a way to fine-tune it. You can get in touch with Winnie, you can get in touch with me, you can get in touch, anybody you need can help you fine-tune process. Because the whole idea is once you fine-tune the process and realize, once I put X amount of X here, I get Y success. Once you're able to come up with a structure like that, then you have a standard operating procedure. Now, this becomes the building block of your system This becomes what you are going to train your employees by. This becomes how you employ people, because you are now employing people to fit the process. And then this becomes how your business grows going forward. At this point, if you have any questions, you can show by hand and Winnie can direct you to ask your question, but I'll also continue to proceed. If you have a question, you can go on with it. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. So once you have this standard procedure well outlaid, and then it is systemized, that now begins to influence everything. It now shows who you need to employ, and then it shows the parts of your business that can be automated. So I keep mentioning Kenneth because he asked the first question and at least his name popped up. So you are now able to tell yourself, this is my process from getting a lead to getting a sale. And I have now standardized it and it is ready to be systemized. You can now tell yourself that, okay, with this system, I can automate this part. I can automate step 2 and step 3 and step 4. So you can tell yourself, for example, using Kenneth because he is into real estate, let's use the real estate example. So Kenneth made an issue about once people make payments and he's expecting his team to come up with that documentation. So let's say you work on the finance system and you tell yourself, I'm going to have a payment system such that, let's say Oze will be taking my payments on my behalf through whatever payment gateways they have partnered with. And once payments go through, there's a message sent to my AI assistant, and then quickly the documentation process begins. Now we are going to have a standard documentation procedure, which is going to come up with the document, and then all we put in will be the name of the new client, the figures they have paid, and then probably the figures they have paid, probably the dates, the timelines involved. So by this, you would know that there's a process that prepares the document. Everything is on point. And then the parts of the processes that cannot be automated are now delegated. That is when you employ people to fill in. And with that, your employments are direct and technical because you are bringing in somebody to do a particular thing in the system. Number 2, what that means is that you have a lot of people on standby. The system is one. It is easier for you to train people. It is easier for you to run on. And in the event you need to replace anybody, it is just the same old system you're going to run them through. And it is going to be at little to no stress to you. So, Winnie, at this point, if anybody has any other
we have a couple of.
I want this to be as interactive as possible, so you can let them flow.
Yes, please. So we had Raymond first, but I think his hand has gone. Raymond, I don't know if you still want to share your question, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
All right. So I'm a fashion designer. And the problem is some client of the female clients especially always want you to be around when they are fitting their dresses. No matter who you delegated for them to, check up on them, no matter how nice you are to them, they are still not satisfied. In a situation like this, what should I do?
Okay. So in this situation, I have a process I call client training. It sounds funny, but it's essentially what you tell the client before they come on board. So this will not work with somebody who has already worked with you before. You would have to carry that across. But for a new person, what if you told them, let me use myself as an example so you understand. I'm a I'm a business coach. I only take up 10 clients per cohort if you want me to work with you directly. So this is what I say. If I am almost up to 10, when you call me, I'll tell you I am so and so numbers away from my active clientele that I can take for this month. If you fall within that, then we can work directly. But if that slot gets filled up, then we will still offer you the service, but it will not be directly in conjunction with me. You are going to pay something cheaper, but you are going to get your work done with the help of my other colleagues. Those who want to do that get a cheaper service fee and still get the work done, but I don't need to be physically there with them, even though I am coordinating everything they are doing. So for you, you could have service packages from today. You can tell yourself or tell your clients when they get in touch, first of all, you don't need to be the one to convince them to come and make the purchase. That is where it starts. If in the process they were dealing with you, in the sales process, I have something I need to show, can you do this? If they were dealing with you, then naturally they grow attached to you. But if you had a sales team or a client relations board or desk where they were talking to a client relations person, not you, and each time they had to communicate with you, the client relations had to let them book an appointment or tell them they will have to wait for so and so hours to talk to you, then they would quickly know that, okay, Raymond is not always available. He's the designer in charge, but he's not like always available. He's very busy with a lot of important stuff. And then you add as part of your service charge that if you want Raymond to be your personal designer on this project, then you are going to pay this VIP charge, and Raymond will be there for you. You make sure it is an amount that you know you can sacrifice time for. So you tell yourself, okay, if somebody was to pay 10,000 for, let's say, 3 pieces of designs, I will be willing to dedicate time, let's say 1 hour, 2 hours, to be there for them. When we are taking their measurements, when they are coming to their fitting, I will be there. But if they don't pay that much, I will not be there. So you fix that figure, and then those who want you personally, and those who know your value. And with this comes with other plans, of course. You would have to have a content plan where we position you as a person of authority. So Raymond will have videos where you are not asking people to come and buy from you, but where you are talking as a standard authority in fashion designing. You are telling people how the collar should be cut. You are telling people how the fish style should be fitted, how corsets are fixed. So they see you as this is an important figure, and you will not easily get him to be the one to be directly measuring you and be there for you. So when you couple this with the VIP package, they know when they want you there, they have to pay X amount. Now, when they want the regular service, then they know you will not be there. But there will be other competent people who will do the job because it is your reputation and your brand on the line. And they'll be willing to deal with you at that level. But once you don't put that thing in place and they still talk to you on a regular level, when they are making payments, they can call you and say, I've sent the money, can you confirm and all that? They think you are accessible. They think you are available. And so when you tell them you cannot be there for them, they don't understand. They're like, we've sent you money and now you're telling us you cannot be there. But when you build that structure and they realize that, no, we are dealing with a system. We are not dealing with Raymond as an individual. We are dealing with this whole fashion house. They would quickly comply. And that's what I call client training. You train them by how you onboard them. So I told you this one will not work for those who have already worked with you. But going forward, you can reposition yourself and then you can fly. So Raymond, I don't know if I have helped you.
Very well, sir. You've done justice to my topic. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Raymond. Okay. And one thing I wanted to also ask Coach Chris, do you think, so let's say I was looking at it in this way, maybe it's also a matter of trust because they think maybe if Raymond is around, they trust that, oh, if there are any issues, he will make sure it's done. But when he's not there and it's the maybe his assistant. So I think maybe another way I looked at it was maybe when you are even doing you're starting from the beginning with them, always like involving your assistant. So that's like if you are not available, maybe your assistant, she's capable and she has the skills to do everything. So I guess it's also building trust, not only with you, but also ensuring that your assistant too is also building the trust of the customers. But the VIP thing, I think, is also a very good initiative that he can take. So I like that. Also, we have a question from Stephanie. Stephanie, please, could you kindly unmute and ask your question?
Okay, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it's been an insightful session. My question is also going to be based on structuring. So I'm a human resource manager, and I have an issue with my present organization, the level of structure that we have. And it boils down to having the manager sometimes handle some particular things. So let's take, for instance, performance appraisals. And when I share the documents with them, I struggle to get it back. I struggle to get back okay, so from the beginning, I want to work on the document. I want to draft the appraisals with them, the KPIs. I don't want to do it alone as an HR person. I want their input because they know exactly what their team members are doing. And then I will struggle to drag them here and there before I'm able to get the document. And afterwards, when I finally do, and we get to give an approval and say, okay, this is the document you should work with. Okay, by the way, we use the OKR system of appraisal. So by the time it gets to the appraisal itself, I need to still do an extra dragging for them to get their team members to fill the forms and return to them for their own evaluation, and before they now get it back to me. It's been a serious burden for me, and I'm not sure how best to handle it. That's number one. Then number two, you talked earlier about the growth in the organization. And sometimes that's what makes people to want to put in their best, and I buy into that idea. But then when I draft how the growth is going to, because of course the growth for each department differs. How do I now get it across to them for them to understand that this is how they'll be going from level to level or from cadre to cadre? I hope my questions are clear.
Yes, they are.
Thank
Yes,
you.
they are. And Stephanie, before I touch on your question, I wanted to give just a little gist about what Winnie commented on with Raymond's question. So Raymond, if you are still there, this is still something for you. Winnie made a very strong point, but she made a point most of us do. So I wanted us to draw our attention. She mentioned assistant. You see right there, who told them? By them, I mean who told the clients that this one is an assistant? It is you by your actions. So if you go to Gucci right now, or Versace, or all these brands that we respect, you are not going to see Gucci there solely. But you respect the brand because you believe everybody there is an expert. So consider that in your content. You can become the chief fashion designer, even the CEO. You can step out. Let your clients believe that everybody there is an expert. Let them be an expert, not your assistant, because everybody wants to work with the expert. As Winnie rightly said, if business coach Chris wants a suit, I don't want the assistant to be the one to do it for me. But guess what? If there are 4 experts in the room and any of them can help me, I'll take it. So that is food for thought. You have designated the tables in your office in such a manner that when somebody enters, they know this one is an assistant, this one is an apprentice, and this one is the boss. So with that same logic, turn their mind around. You can rearrange the table. Let them know that, okay, now there are 3 superstar designers, and then there are 3 apprentices. Those same set of clients will now begin to say, okay, when you go to Raymond and these 3 people work on your job, yes, they are on point, but these 3 people, they are learning. Now, instead of just you being the superstar, there are 3 people who they still believe now. So that is something you can consider. Now, I am going to Stephanie. So Stephanie, the first point I jotted here about the appraisal, this is usually in corporate institutions, this is more like a little power struggle. It happens every time. So HR has their role, and then the manager or the departments also think HR is meddling in our affairs, and it becomes a little struggle where everybody is trying to play hardball. But this only happens because from the initial stages, there was no proper structure. Because if there was a structure and everybody knew their place, then everybody would know what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do. Now, one thing structure also brings is penalties for failing. You see, once there are no penalties, there is no penalty on the manager. And for me, the penalties I love the most is not the one that says we are going to sack you. No, that is too extreme. We are all motivated by the money or the promise of promotion or something. So the penalties I usually implement in my businesses is the one that makes you lose money, or that makes you lose your ability to be promoted, or that makes you lose your ability to enjoy some benefits or some bonuses at the end of the week. And I will always let you know you lost it because of X and Y. Whichever manager is in any of my businesses, they will let you know because of ABC, this week you are not getting this allowance and you are not getting that allowance. It is not about if and when and she said and he said. And so by the time they come the following week, everybody is in line. So all they are trying to do is to make sure they are in line. They have to be in line with a systemized system or structure. So Stephanie, for that first point, make sure your setup or your institution has a structure. If they don't, it means nobody gets punished for any of these things you are complaining about. And once nobody will get punished, it will continue to happen. Now with the second one about the clear growth plan that is going to induce productivity, it can be as simple as letting people know what they stand to gain if they meet targets. I have realized that it is something huge companies use to their advantage. But those of us who are running small to medium-sized businesses never try to do this, where we are sort of working with targets. You go to any big bank, GT Bank, Echo Bank, Standard Bank, you go to any big bank, you go to any big institution, and they'll give you a target. Hit this by this and get rewarded. You miss it and then you get punished. But when it comes to the small system, because of course, most of us are employing based on helping. He's here to help. We are not there yet. He's here to help. We tend to relax some things. So Stephanie, what I will tell you is, let them have a growth path. Even before they start the work, tell them you are starting as a client relations officer. This will be your roles for today. If you are able to excel in this, our next hire will be another client relations officer, because we would have to promote you to a client relations supervisor, where you will now be overseeing the new person coming to do the exact job you are doing now. So we want you to show exemplary work ethic and show proof that you actually have what it takes to manage somebody in the same capacity. So what you have just done is shown a career path that if I do this well, I become a supervisor. Then they know there is a path. But when they see that they can do this very well, and your next hire will be a supervisor, and they will still be there as a relations officer, then there is a little bit of, okay, whatever I do, I'm stuck here. Or if you're not able to show them that this is where we are starting from, and this is where you have the potential to get to if you are able to meet the line. In fact, if you're able to stay with us consistently for the next 2 to 3 years, we will be willing to further your education or give you a 50% scholarship to further your education so you can become a supervisor here. And then we'll be willing to also take you up on a few A, B, C, D steps to get you to this level. Just by spelling those things out before they start work. You see, most of these things work when they have it in hand before they start work. Once they get into the work environment, don't forget there are old workers there. There is an already existing climate in the office, and that quickly sits in, and it gets them to act according to the way they see being tolerated in the office. And they'll quickly say, this is how this office or this business operates, and this is how we are going to go with them. So if you want to have a change in that environment, you need to change it from source. So Stephanie, I don't know if I've helped you or if there's another twist to this question, or if there's something I might have missed.
Okay, you really helped me a lot, but at the moment, I'm not talking about new recruits. Like I already have a setup of staff already in the system, and this is the situation I'm having. So moving forward, with this particular staff that I have, what can I do to correct the system and to let them now know where they will get to if they do some particular things at some particular time or over a period of
Okay,
time?
so this is purely a psychological battle now. So you are going to, because they've been used to a certain methodology or
Yeah.
system, even though it is not documented for some time now.
Yes.
So what I usually do is what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Once there is a sore or once there is an injury, I go straight ahead and try to fix it. I put some medicine on it. So I'm going to call a meeting. Now, depending on you, it can be one-on-one or it can be a group. I'm going to call a meeting and say in a write-up that this is what has been going on for this time, and this is what that has meant for us. And going forward, this is what we intend to do. So henceforth, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Now, if you are able to comply with X, Y, Z, then you get A, B, C. If you don't comply with X, Y, Z, then we'll be forced to go by the new rules now, which stipulates a couple of reprimanding actions for people who go against this. And then you assure them that this is not being done to victimize anybody, but this is being done in line with our new projections to be here by so and so year, to be the leading brand in our space. Mention all the positive new things you want to achieve now. Tell them you want to achieve this with them. Tell them what achieving that will mean for them in terms of their pockets and their stature and their reputation. And tell them that henceforth, you are not going to tolerate anything that is going to stand between the company and that projected future. So you are going to give them the chance to determine whether they want to be a part of this new movement or whether they want to fall off. Now, when you take this line of action, be ready to walk the talk, because they are going to call your bluff. They will say in their minds that we hear this all the time. we see it in the movies, we see it in the books, we see it everywhere, even in government. So you're going to have to be ready to set a few examples early on. Make the initial punishments very small. Don't make it too big. Make the initial punishments very small. And then make second time offense a little bigger. Third time offense, make it a dismissal or something very big. They're going to call your bluff. Be very quick with the first offense and punish them. The punishment will be small, but they will see that it happened. Somebody will falter again. Punish them. By the time somebody loses their job or gets demoted or gets suspended, they lose salary for some months. What is going to happen is that those who are not ready to go by the new rules will begin to leave. But those who are ready will stay. And then you know for sure that any new person coming on board now has to go by the new rules. That is the only way you are able to solve something which has already diffused into the old system. It is by elimination. But then there are people who are ready to change. So you give the room for those who want to change. Those who don't want to have to walk. That's how it works.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. I don't know. I don't think we have any other question, but I believe Chinere posted most businesses put more emphasis on penalties. However, she believes that if a business has penalties, it should also have rewards, which is very, very true. Thank you for that, Chinere.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point I made. The issue is not about the penalty. The issue is about the right thing. This is what I told one of my clients. We have a guarantee on our service. So if you don't get the results you signed up for, there's a clause in our agreement where you will get a refund. And I think in the second month of operation, the client was reminding us of the fact that we said if he doesn't get what he wants, he gets a refund. And I told him there and then that we are going to stop working with you because you have the wrong attitude. And number two, if you only paid us because you wanted a refund when we are not able to perform, then that speaks more about your attitude than us. And that attitude will not help a business to grow. So definitely, it's not about the punishment. In as much as I don't want to ever have to use the punishment, it is just there to let people know that there are rules. The only reason why punishments make sense is when the rewards are also there. So when people know that when I come to work on time and I do what I'm supposed to do, I get rewarded. The punishment is also taken on the chin. When the day they falter, they know, okay, I deserve this and it came to me. And even when their friends falter, they are not going to hold you, the business owner, or the company accountable. They would know it's a standard procedure. So my point here is not to be in a hurry to punish people, to withhold their salary, to sack them. No. It is to just put in the structure so that everybody knows there is something to benefit from doing what is right, and there is something to lose from doing what is not right. So Winnie, you can take over.
Thank you, Coach Chris. Please, does anybody have any more questions? Anyone has a question? Mm. So, Coach, I have a question when it comes to this. So I know a lot of businesses, or I've spoken to a lot of I have business owner friends who have spoken about how sometimes it's hard to find good talents. You're starting business. You don't have the
It's
money.
not sometimes. It is hard to find good talent. I want to correct that.
It is
It
hard.
is hard even today. Yes.
Okay. So, I wanted to ask, there's talk about people looking for people with skills or character. And I think one thing that we've tried to do, even at my company, is also find people that have they fit into the company culture or their character, even how they interact during the interviews. So I wanted to ask you, what type of things should people look out for when they're trying to look for good talent, that will come in. Obviously, they might not have all the skills, they will learn on the job. But if you can just share what you think we can look out for when it comes to like hiring people that might end up becoming good good fits or good talent. Yeah.
Okay, so Winnie, I get you, but I know that is not the question you want to ask because honestly, when you see good talent, you just know. There's nothing to look out for in good
Yes.
talent.
Good.
When you see good talent, you know their knowledge, their attitude, everything is on point. Some way, somehow, I don't know how they do it, but when you meet good talent, you know you've met good talent.
Mhm.
I think what you really wanted to ask was, now that we don't have what it is, because good talent are also expensive.
Yes.
Now that we don't have what it takes now, we are probably at the beginning phase. How are we going to attract that good talent with the right attitude, with the right experience? What do we do now that we are waiting?
Mhm.
And what I would say is, Rome was not built in a day. It doesn't start at once. I know some people, I don't know, I saw somebody type something. Was it about character and good talent? Winnie, I think you can go to that and let me know. But um, somebody just typed something about
Yes,
character and talent.
so she says people with good character are quite difficult to come by these days. I have many personal experiences, and the ones with good talent are hard to come
Yes,
by.
yes, yes. So that is supporting the point. The good talents, they are hard to come by. And by talent, I don't mean the skills alone, everything, the attitude and everything. Now, what I have learned over time is that they are all at one place. They are at a place of value. So where you find all this disrespectful, stinking attitude is in a place of poverty. I'm sure by now, since we are all business and people here and entrepreneurs, we all know that poverty is not a bank account statement, it is a mindset. So poor people generally have stinking attitudes and bad character. They come into the business and their first point of call is, how do I enrich myself? How do I break the family poverty curse from here? How do I find every way possible to milk every CD or every naira from my boss without putting in any work? So yes, poverty is the leading cause. For me, what I learned to do at an early stage is that like attracts like. As you begin to grow, talent will locate you. So what I encourage in the beginning is that find character that is not polished. In the beginning, when you don't have what it takes to pay the right talent, what they are truly worth, find good character that is coachable. Good character that is coachable will be able to get the work done, not as the professionals will, but they will save you the headache of the bad characters. So you are going to begin to see growth at a certain level. And based on how much money you are bringing in, you begin to bring in exceptional talent one by one. So just like we broke down the structures into three main structures: the sales, the operations, and then the finances. Based on what you are doing, you have your order of preferences. So if, let's say, for you, the most important position is the sales, work with a good character that can be coached today. Master the sales yourself and coach that good character. Eventually, they will mature, but even if they don't, they will bring in enough revenue for you to be able to now go in for a seasoned, qualified, expert salesperson, sales manager, who can now take care of that part. And then you go on to the next one. If it is operations, get in good characters that are coachable. And then before you realize, you have super experts in all these positions. And then the good characters that were understudying them or understudying you would soon be as good as them. And you would have a very healthy office environment. But in the beginning, if you are just hiring for ability, that is when the bad characters come in and they mess up everything. So if you ask me personally, I will choose character over ability on any day once you are coachable. So when I am interviewing people, one thing I look out for is your coachability. I will check from what you've graduated with, and I will try to find ways to know. I mean, there are questions to ask to know if this gentleman or this lady can be coached to do other things. And once I realize you have what it takes, then I mark you as coachable. The other thing you should look out for is the fact that people are not committed to courses, they are committed to themselves. So if you are interviewing or if you are recruiting and you find somebody who is interested about the course, then you know that is a very good green flag. The other thing you have to note is the attitudes people show during interviews or when they are trying to get the job is totally different from the attitude they put up once they get the job. So you should be able to catch that in the probation phase. For me, I gave a 1 month probation. I used to give the standard 3 months. Now I do just 1 month because within 2 weeks, I will know what I need to know. And instead of paying 3 months of salary before I sack you, all I want to do is to take 1 month hit. So through the interview, you should gather a lot of information. And if they are good fit, you should know. Now, if they convince you in the interview, 1 month is long enough for them to convince you physically. And then you can proceed with the next steps. So if you ask me, that's what I'll say. Character, talent, they are hard to come by. You're not going to get them at your low state. You need to rise to a place of value, and then like will attract like. So Winnie, are you okay?
Yes, thank you so much. Please, we have a question, another question from Husseini Abdul Hamid. Husseini, please go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, good morning, Mr. Corello and our facilitator for today. Let me go straight to the question. I operate in a small startup where by experience I serve as the business development coach. So I believe systems evolve, right?
Yes.
Systems evolve. So like currently we are operating about 3 of us, the CEO, myself, and another technician. It is actually a dental clinic. So myself, a technician, and the CEO. Of course, all the 3 of us are dental professionals, but we all have our roles. So currently we want to involve more people in a team, but just before we involve them, I am looking at we have to start putting this system in places. So how can I resolve the conflict of you are bringing in somebody to join you in the team? And then how do you think if there are strategies that I can communicate this system? Because this is something that we intend to do over time as we are growing, because we are going to be bringing in people into the system. So what communication strategies should we use to communicate and let them adapt to this new system? Of course, it has to affect them as they are coming in, and it is also affecting us as we are not used to the new system that we are introducing now. So how could we try to strike a balance between them and us that are in the system through communication strategies and other modalities that we can use? This is my question. Thank you.
Okay, Hussaini, this is a very important question. I wonder why it would have gone it would have gone unasked if probably the time was a little shorter. But it's a very, very important question. it is important because you mentioned three things, that you are three people in the business. So quickly, is it like a partnership, or is it you who have employed two other people? Help me understand.
Yes, it's a partnership actually. Partnership between the two of us. The other technician is brought in as an employee.
Great. So the first thing you're supposed to do is to implement, is to have your systems. This is because, you see, once it's a partnership and we are in Africa, you don't want a situation where it becomes a partner to partner banter, where it becomes, I brought this person and you brought that person. Because what happens is that people are bringing in people just because they are partners of the firm. So this is my friend, he needs a job or she needs a job, and I know we have a job here, so let's fix him. You want to avoid that. That is the surest way to collapse. Now, to avoid that, you need to have a structure. I mentioned the three basic structures: the sales, the operations, the finances. So put this into perspective. Currently, how do you get clients? That is your sales structure. Do you run adverts? Who communicates or who responds to leads? Who gets in touch with your adverts? Who corresponds with payments? Who is the one who is doing the actual dental service delivery? Now, once you put all these structures in place and you know this is how we get in clients, this is how we deliver the service when the clients come in, this is how payments are controlled, you will now be in a position to employ, because now when you are employing people, they are coming in to do a particular job within the system. They are not coming in because they are related to you or the other partner. They are not coming in because somebody thinks they need to, let's say, make it up to somebody, or somebody wants to make a name for themselves, so they need to show that they can employ their cousin, so their family will say, okay, so this man has helped, blah, blah, blah. So you need to have structures from the beginning. Get your sales system in place. Have the entire sales funnel structured out. How do we get in clients? Have the entire operational structure structured out. How do we deliver when we get the clients? Who is in charge of what? Once you have those systems in place, when you are employing, you know exactly what the person is coming to do. So when you are having that discussion with your partner, it becomes more like, now we need somebody who will be in charge of client relations. And for that person to qualify for what we need them to do, they need to be able to go by this set of rules we have laid down, that our client relations officer is going to do, let's say, client outreach. They are going to do client research. They are going to do service delivery. They are going to take charge of client information and all that. So you have a list of things this client relations officer is coming to do. And then based on that list, when you put out the advert, or when either of you have somebody to recommend, the person now has to strictly meet those standards, or at least very close to it, for them to be considered. Because if you don't do that, as partners, people are going to put square pegs in round holes. You are going to bring people because you are a partner. And then now what happens is your dental practice needs to find space to put them somewhere, as we put it. Not because they are good enough, but because you want to keep the partnership going. But if both of you agree and you have the systems in place from the beginning, whoever is coming on board now needs to fit the framework of the system. If you want to be our accountant, you need to be able to do A, B, C, and D, because that is what our accountant has to be able to do. If you want to be our caterer, you need to be able to do X, Y, and Z, because that is what we expect of our caterer. If you want to be our sales manager, this is what you're supposed to be able to do. And that is what the system is simply going to spell out. So Husseini, I don't know if I've helped you or if you have a follow-up question.
Okay, you have really helped a lot. Just the communication part, like, do you think it is important to be meeting on a timely basis to discuss about the system, make sure that just everybody have understand his role and is playing according to the laid out procedures?
With the documentation or with the communication, I think the two most important people will be you and your partner. So have a face-to-face meeting on this, agree on the systems. If you are the one who is going to draft it, and then let him go through it and veto it. At least make sure it is coming from both of you. Definitely one person is going to draft it, the other will go through and say, I think this is okay. Why don't we add this? Why don't you subtract this? But once you agree on the thing, then the two of you have to now make sure both of you and every other worker that comes in goes by the guidelines. There should be no room exceptions. And when you yourself are going by the guidelines, it is going to force the workers to go by it. And when the workers know that this is the system, there are rewards for going by it, there are punishments for going against it, then everything is going to fall in line. But if it comes from one of you, maybe either you or him, and then the communication is such that these are the new rules now, this is what we need to do, then it becomes more of an imposition and the other person is going to try to kick back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
You're welcome, Hussein.
Okay, Business Coach Chris, I think those are the questions we have for today.
Yes. Winnie, haven't you taken too much of my time already? I thought you'd
Yes.
give me some time and start.
Yes, please. So thank you so much, Business Coach. I really appreciate it. I was on TikTok and I saw his videos some time back, and I was like, this guy, he really speaks like a lot of, he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to business. If you check out his TikTok, I think it's Business Coach Chris, and then Instagram, his videos really shed light on how you can grow as a business owner. So please, if you want to get in touch with him, please reach out to me, or you can reach out to him directly via social media. I think you can reach out to him and do one-on-one business coaching, because he will really guide you on the steps you need to take to grow. So as this meeting is coming to a close, we just wanted to briefly talk about what we do as a company. Our company is called Oze. I have my business operations manager on the call, Michael Mensah.
Hello, everyone.
Please, over to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to Corello for making time to share these gems with everyone on how we can improve and scale up our business. Thank you so much. So yes, I'm here to talk about Oze. So for those of you that do not have the app yet or do not know about Oze, Oze is the number one business app in the entire Africa. We provide an application which you business owners can use to keep records of sales and expenses that you make in your businesses. You can generate e-receipts and invoices, manage your inventory, and then on top of that, we have a domain where you can create a storefront to list the products that you sell, or the list the services that you offer on your storefront, and you can share your unique link with your customers, so that in events where it's outside of working hours, they can just go on the domain or your storefront, order for an item, make payment, and then you can arrange and have the item or service delivered once it's within operational hours. right? Now, the thing with the Oze shop is that it's very, very unique. Unlike the other e-commerce platforms like the Jumias and the rest, where if let's say I go on there to look for a book, it means that all the vendors selling that book will show or will be displayed, and then I have to decide what the best price is. But then the cool thing with the Oze shop is your link, your Oze shop link is unique to your business. So once you send the link to a customer, the customer can only see your products or the services that you offer, and they can patronize. Now, on top of all of this, we also offer business loans. So for those of you that we know that there are times when you require or you need financial aid, you can easily apply for a loan from us. The criteria is just for you to stay active on the Oze app for a minimum of 30 days. Just record your sales and expenses that you make in your business on a daily. After 30 days, you can then apply for the loan. And all that will require is either your bank statement or your mobile money statement. Okay. And yes, and on top of that, too, you have access to a business coach. The business coach unfortunately will not be Corello, but then he or she would also have in-depth knowledge about business and business processes, and should and would be able to help you um, if you need to come up with a strategy, if you need to make certain decisions when it comes to your business, if you require help in terms of trying to get some funding for your business, this business coach is available to help. But then you can only access the business coach if you are on any of our plans, which is silver, gold, or platinum. Okay, so in summary, this is what we do here at Oze. On top of having these monthly workshops where we invite seasoned resource persons to come and share their knowledge in um, should I say general topics or in-depth topics when it comes to business. This is what we do at Oze. So please, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, kindly go on the Play Store or the App Store if you're on iOS, and just search for OZE and download the app. We are ever ready to welcome you and set you up on your business journey and helping you scale up your business. So thank you.
Thank
Over to you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. So yeah, I just wanted to talk briefly about what we do. As business coach, Chris was talking about SOPs. I think having an app, a business management app, will also be great. So you can give it a try. If it works for you, fine. It doesn't, that's completely fine as well. I just wanted to say thank you to business coach Chris. Thank you so much for this session. I don't know if you can send him some emojis or some messages in the chat just to thank him, and if you understood or took anything from this session. For me, I really thought about, always providing opportunities for growth for your employees. I mean, we've all been employees maybe at some point in our lives, and we always wanted to grow. If you're in a company or a business and there's no opportunity for growth, there's no passion to even want to come there. You're just coming for the money. So when you create those avenues, I believe it will push the employees to even want to do better and strive and want to grow. Also investing in them, training them. I know sometimes businesses will say if I train them, they'll leave me and go somewhere else. I think you training them, and even if they go somewhere else, that's part of something you've invested in them. There are other times some people recognize that investment. There are times people might not, and then they'll leave you. But at the end of the day, I know that every good thing you put out there will come back to you. So thank you so much, Coach Chris, for that. We're going to share the recording and the slides in our WhatsApp groups. I'll share that on the page. Sorry, in the chat, sorry. So please join if you want to have access to these. Also, if you want to reach out to Coach Chris, as I said, please reach out to me and I'll give you that information. So thank you guys so much for today, for another amazing session. Coach Chris, any last words from you before we close?
No, not really. thanks everybody for showing up. And my main concern is I want to see businesses grow. I want to see businesses do well. So let's not just listen to these sessions each and every day. I would really be glad if somebody implemented this and maybe 2 months down the line, they get back to you and say, we now have our sales system fully functioning and we are working on this and that other system. It would really mean a lot to me. It means that we are improving and we are growing. And together we're going to take Africa by storm.
Amen.
So thank you, the Oze team, for making this possible. Thanks everybody, every business person here. Let's go. Let's try to change the African story and the narrative by our hard work and by accomplishments. So everybody, by all means, take care and let's do well.
Thank you so much, Coach Chris. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye.